Desiree here with Soul Path Astrology and this week's Oracle card readings. Welcome, 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 welcome. This is video one for card one. Welcome to Soul Path Astrology as a channel. It is always a pleasure to see you. And if you're new here, thank you for joining us. Before I jump into your card selection, which is this lovely gem right here, I do want to talk briefly about some of the astros that are going on. So, most notably, yesterday on the 7th, we had Mercury go direct. Yay. On the 12th, we're going to have Venus go direct. Woohoo! This has probably been a really interesting period of time over, I'm going to say the last 6, possibly even 8 weeks of really reassessing relationship and your relationship to yourself, any old wounds that have been coming up around your relationship to vulnerability, to strength, to trust. All of this stuff is going to have likely been coming up as we move direct, as all of these personal planets are finally moving direct. This has been a very long, slow slog this first quarter of 2025. Really, you're going to start to see some forward momentum now, in particular on Saturday when we get this full moon in Libra, which is this lunation. Full moons are about completions. Libra is all about relationships. So expect some completion around relationship, expect some completion around old models of relationship, old ways of showing up in relationship that are just stagnant and old. And if you missed the boat or if they've just been getting stirred up over the last 6 to 8 weeks, this is a really beautiful time to, I would even suggest perhaps doing some kind of a ritual or ceremony marking the passing of an old version of you, a shedding of a skin that no longer fits, and maybe a welcoming in to the energy of the Queen of Pentacles. So before I jumped on this video, I spent a little bit of time. This is going to be like maybe a new format that I do with respect to just really dropping into the archetype, the energy of each of these cards and how it, in this case, with the Queen of Pentacles, there is this sovereignty in any of the queens. The Pentacles in particular, though, this is about security. It's about money. It's about values in the sense of creating a sense of stability beneath you in the tangible world in which we live. So if you're on my channel, odds are you probably started your journey very spiritually, very, you probably have struggled with money by and large, or with finding your way in the world in a tangible 3D way. Maybe it's always been like feast or famine in your financial world, or maybe a lot of instability in your housing situation, maybe lots of moving and lots of shifts and changes. And so the Queen of Pentacles, as it arrives in this week's reading, if this was your card, it's like this is the demarcation where you begin this journey. If you take the energy, it's only just presented. You have to run with it. Nothing happens to you without your conscious participation. But what is coming online in a very visceral, very real 3D way is this deep embodiment, the Queen of Pentacles energy, where you are in your own sovereign capacity to create stability in your life. Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to have friends and allies that are supporting you in this, but it's this arriving home into a depth of your own beingness, into this homecoming that is unshakable, that is rooted in your connection to love, into source, into the infinite, and this deep recognition, this unshakable readiness to cultivate a 3D foundation for yourself, not in a clinging, overly stable way. I mean, if this is your card and you're on this channel, odds are, being stuck and rigid probably wasn't your shtick, though if it was, then this will be the opposite. If you've been really, really rigid, then this is an invitation to a little bit more flexibility. But really, I'm going to say that probably the bulk of you seeing this is going to land. And again, these are always general. If you want specific, let's deep dive and get a personal reading for you. But generally speaking, this is the energy of coming into this balanced, sovereign place of stability and security. It is the Queen. So there's a quality of the feminine, so emotional. There's a home, like, if you think about the nest and the feminine principle of warmth and security. It's pentacles, not cups. So this is money, but it's like, it wouldn't surprise me if for some of you there's a major move or maybe a major renovation or some kind of foundation work. Literally, maybe you're fixing a broken foundation, or maybe you're really deciding to lay some roots. And that's the decision that's coming forward for you. And that, what are you going to do to create some solid roots for yourself? Expect to see an illumination on the Saturday, on the 12th, around this, where it becomes very obvious what's next. Maybe something you've been waiting for finally moves and comes to fruition with, again, the last of these personal planets moving forward, of which you'll probably get some information that you need that will come to its full fruition either by the end of April, the end of May. But just really allowing that there's going to be this like sovereignty, this sense of being in yourself. She is just so like, just feel into this, like this solid, calm. This is a good place. This is a beautiful foundation stone, in particular, as we're coming into, the spring here in the Northern Hemisphere, where new life is being seeded and where new growth is beginning to push through the soil. Like, this is such a beautiful energy. Like, just really arrive here in your sovereignty, on your throne, in this calm, balanced, slow and steady. That's the other thing about Pentacles. There's a slow and steady approach to it, a methodical approach to it. She's not willy-nilly. So this is an invitation into making a plan and sticking with it and having some self-discipline and diligence with executing this greater plan that is in its design to support and hold you in safety and security. I hope that landed. If you want a deep dive, you can find a link to my calendar in the description of the card, and in the comments, there's always a pinned comment with a link there too. Also a link if you feel like offering me some love, some monetary love, you can send me that, kind of buying me a coffee, so to say. Alternatively, if you find value, you guys ask, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell. All that stuff helps enormously. Share and comment. These are all beautiful ways for us to connect and for the channel to grow. The more energy you give it, the more it supports me, the more all of this can grow, and it becomes this beautiful regenerative situation. So yeah, mwah. Hope that you have a fantastic week. Enjoy yourself, and I will see you next Tuesday. Bye for now.